we need a cool name. How about the Destruction Crew? No. What about the Minnesota Wrecking Crew? No, we did that in WCW. Our moms are called Beverly, so we're called the Beverly Brothers.
Hola amigos, it's Will here from Will's Custom Figures, coming at you today with a big bad breakdown of none other than WWF's 90s heel tag team, the Beverly Brothers. So please guys, sit back and relax while I talk you through how and why I made these pompous, these rich, these upper class bad guys, and all the details in between.
And here we go with an absolutely beautiful up-close shot of the Beverly Brothers together. Now, of course, with the Beverly Brothers, you can't do a video without bringing in some of the icons. So here is none other than Hulk Hogan, so you can see a nice little comparison. Look at that. As a set, that would stand out on any Hasbro collector's shelves. Why didn't WWE make these figures? I do not know, but you know what? It's given me the opportunity to do it, and I'm so happy with how this set looks. Again. And if you're talking larger than life characters that ooze charisma, you can't have anybody else on display here other than Sergeant Slaughter. What a legend.
And imagine this match, guys. Goldberg and Bret Hart put their differences aside to face a common enemy in the Beverly Brothers. This has squash match written all over it. And you can't have a comparison video without having the Ultimate Warrior. And here he is next to Bew Beverly, looking large and in charge. And speaking of large and in charge, look at those flames going up and down his body. It is the one and only Bam Bam Bigelow next to Blake Beverly. Looking very impressive. And in my opinion, this is one of the greatest wrestling figures that Hasbro ever released in this toy line.
And let's start out this how-to video with a little look at Wayne Bloom, one half of the Beverly Brothers. And as you can see, for any of you WWF Hasbro aficionados out there and collectors, this is, of course, the Rocker's Marty Jannetty as a base. Previously, I actually made Wayne Bloom with Shawn Michaels Rocker's base, and I'm not going to lie, it's got this very, very strange arm that sort of points downwards with his hand wide open, and it really, really does leave a lot to the imagination. I don't like it. So working on this set, making sure that, of course, Mike Enos is slightly shorter, more muscular of the group. You can see Mike Enos here. I've made him very, very slightly shorter. So Wayne does look slightly more impressive from the group. I've done that by, of course, using the same body type, but making the neck slightly longer and also bulking out the shoulders a little bit on Mike Enos. So just giving you a breakdown, they're pretty much exactly identical with the wrestling attire. I absolutely love how the waistband goes around here. I've left that absolutely traditional as per the original Rockers figure on the Marty Jannetty. However, I have hand sculpted completely their heads from clay, from the purple tights to add in the cape on using clay, the smug faces, they're asking to be booed, they're natural heels. They would look absolutely brilliant with any of your other figures. I've used Vallejo paints to paint all of the bright colours on these figures, including the hair. However, I have actually used Citadel Kislev Flesh colour to do all of the skin tones. Now, these guys really stand out. They transformed from high flyers into pompous heels. Their hair, their faces, they're all sculpted by hand, and I'm so proud with how these have turned out. Now, the last few details. After attaching the cape on, I used a super glue to make sure it was absolutely firmly attached inside the torsos. And I'm just going to pause this Spinatron 5000 here so I can show you some of the smaller details up close. Now, after getting the clay cut perfectly to size, I would glug a little bit of super glue down the back there and use an accelerator spray to make sure it instantly freezes. That gives it a little bit more strength. Of course, I'm going to have to put these in the post. Now, in addition to that, the offcuts from making the cape I used to create these two awesome looking fronts of the cape here, and then hand sculpted the tassels on. And of course, they had this nice little silver bit going underneath, wrapped around their neck that they would take off when getting in the ring. and look at some of the details on this. I'm very, very happy with how this has all turned out. Of course, you're going to get tiny little imperfections. You know, they are action figures that have been made and clay that's been put in my air fryer. I always used to say kiln, but it's not really a kiln, is it? And as you can see, the matching stars going over from figure to figure. Absolutely loved how it's turned out. Firstly, I would put on the entire cape. The reason I did that is because then I can actually sculpt the hair flowing down on top of the cape like this. Didn't want to put the hair under the cape. I just didn't think it would look as cool. And as you can see, pretty much exactly matching. Beautiful looking bright white used on the boots here. And still kept it very, very original, very authentic. Why didn't Hasbro make this figure? Why didn't they make this set? These would have absolutely flew off the shelves. There wasn't enough heels, in my opinion, in the Hasbro 90s collection. Now, guys, my final reflections before I bring this video to a close. It was a big oversight by WWE to leave out some of the absolutely iconic characters that maybe were a little bit further down the wrestling card than your top stars like your Hulk Hogan's, your Sergeant Slaughters, and your Bret Harts. However, I believe they would have sold so much merchandise. They were the classic bad guys that everybody wanted to watch lose to the Legion of Doom on a Saturday morning match.
The Beverly brothers wrestled at Survivor Series. They wrestled at Summerslam, but they never got that main event push. They never got to the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, on the main card, and they didn't capture the tag team title gold. But I wanted to right them wrongs, and I wanted to put out there their very own action figures for the world to see. So guys, what would I give these guys as a rating? I'd give them about a 9 out of 10. I think that the bright colours, the glitz, the glam and all the tassels really do stand out. And on any person's shelves, these would rival any of the official Hasbro wrestling figures, in my opinion. And I'm very proud of how they turned out. So what is next for this channel? Well, I have Jax from Mortal Kombat. I've got Kenny Omega from AEW. I've got Marvel's The Goblin Queen, the correct version, and even Edge from his masked WrestleMania match.
Guys, please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and if you've been watching for the last 10 minutes or so here on YouTube, I appreciate it. Give me a comment, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.